Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode 353 at scavengerlife.com.
I'm Jay and this is Ryan and we're Trash Elves.
Trash Elf Radio. What an enthusiastic group.
Okay, so I feel like every week I'm kind of just giving the same a little spiel.
Yeah.
But just from like different angles. So this week I came up with a different angle.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
When I skim through videos on a YouTube about how to sell on eBay, I noticed that it's all about process. You know, people are showing you, they go to Goodwill and they buy a bunch of stuff and they show you stuff they sell, or people, go through stuff they buy at auctions, maybe they talk about how they store stuff, or they talk about, buying stuff at Walmart for cheap and posting on Amazon. It's all about process, which is super important.
Right.
I don't see a lot of people talk about philosophy.
You certainly like to talk about philosophy.
I do.
We
because
do.
To us, it's about the long game. You know? Like, when we first started on eBay, it was definitely like, there was no long game. It was just like, we need to make some money. You know? And when we talked about this, we did our numbers, and we were like, we need to make $1,000, $2,000 a month. That's what eBay needs to make us. Now it's actually twice that.
More than that.
Yeah.
Well,
because, but again, I'll get to that point, and then it was just like, what do we need to do this? And it was all about our a process. Where do we buy stuff? Where do we store it? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Okay. But I feel like for long-term business, to have that long game, there has to be a mix between a good process and a reason why you're even doing what you're doing.
Right.
AKA philosophy.
Yes.
So, so some people have this very efficient process. Like, some guy came on the forum this past week and he's like, I just started in December, I think, and he's like, I already have I forgot what it was, 300 items in the store, and he's already making, I don't know, $1,200 a month. It's like great.
Yeah.
And it was all process. It was like, I go to Goodwill.
Right.
I don't go anywhere else. I just go to Goodwill and I buy, clothes and shoes, and I sell them, and I do free shipping on everything, and I sell great.
He's got his process down.
Right. But what I reminded him was, and then he didn't ever answer back. I'm like, okay,
You're like, so cool.
I love these kind of conversations. I try and see, are people thinking about a long term? I'm like, okay, that's cool. But, what happens if you stop putting stuff on eBay every day?
Right.
Your process is only so good as long as you keep it up, but how does that last over the long term? And some people have, maybe they might have, the reason why they want to sell on eBay. They're like, I want to sell on eBay because I want my freedom. I want to not have to work a job. But they have no process at all, and that's why they have death piles all in their house. And they're like...
That's interesting.
And they come on our forum and they're like, I can't buy one more thing because... everything's falling in on me, and my husband or my wife is about to leave me because
my house is taken over.
And I think whenever I see, when I'm always trying to find that, I'm looking for the people who have been sitting on eBay for a long time, and I'm always trying to figure out what's the balance they've made. Because if you don't have the balance between those two things, those people just disappear.
Right. Well, you can burn out if you have, just a process, but you're like...
Yeah.
Not thinking what's the goal or why am I doing this, right? I mean,
when we first started, it was about Goodwill and thrift stores and clothes.
Right.
We were just talking about this, when the census, what was it, 2010?
2010 census.
I worked during that census as a driver.
Yep.
I would drive in a 300-mile...
It was a regional driver. Yeah.
It was a great job. I would drive every day, 300 miles in a big circle, and I'd pick up pieces of paper and drop them off. And during my breaks, I would stop off at all the Goodwills along the way.
Because you'd have a bunch of time in between. You're waiting for one piece of paper to get to another thing, and you're like, I have 2 hours.
And there were 10 Goodwills in that
radius,
loop.
right?
And every day I would hit them.
Yeah.
And I would always be bringing home trash bags of winter coats and shoes.
Wingtips. All I remember from like the spring of 2010 is like men's dress shoes.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it was great because I was going every day about at the same time. I was there when they were putting stuff out, and I was just cleaning up, and it was, you know, I was experiencing that first thing of like, you know, going up to the at the register and people being like,
"What
you're
are
buying
you doing?
50 pairs of women's shoes," like, you know, and I'd just be like, "Yep."
That's
anyway,
so funny.
That to me now is my nightmare. You know, like going to Goodwill every day, buying clothes, and listing it. That's my nightmare. You know, and that's some people's dream. You know, and so I think also it changes over time. You know.
I also think it fluctuates back and forth because we do actually list a lot of clothes right now. We've been listing a lot of clothes, but we have helpers to help us with that process.
Right, we're doing it in a different way. We're still buying. We got back into buying clothes, but now we hired someone to kind of do all the work we hate to do.
Right.
And so anyway,
they rock it.
This is a nugget, okay?
Yeah.
This is like if I was a guru, you would be paying me $10,000 and sitting in a hotel ballroom listening to me.
But instead...
Yeah. Instead...
Here we are.
Here it is. So, for us, eBay is more of like a lifestyle than it is a business. And I think that's really important, right? I mean, like, we're not sitting around like, how do we make more money on eBay? You know, how do we grow this business? Like, Q4, we made, you know, $52,000. We need to, you know, grow our business by 24% next quarter. How do we do that? Like, that's not how we talk about this.
Some people do, and some people like to do that.
No. That's fine.
Let's just say that.
I know. I'm not talking about other people. I'm talking about us. This is our podcast. and again, the whole point of this is talking about the long game, you know? And I think that would be an anathema to a lot of people. That how can you be a business person if you're not always thinking about growing your business and making more money? And for us, the reason why we do eBay isn't to get bigger and to get more wealthy through eBay. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, like...
Well, I think that we have talked about this before in terms of just like anything in your life where you're like, did you reach a point that feels correct to you? Do you want to, you know, hire 5 more people?
Right.
No. I do think when we talk about expanding, though, we are much slower than traditional businesses.
Right.
Because we took a very long time to hire employees. For any business, we're like super... and then we're like, okay, that's where we're at right now.
Okay. So,
you know what I'm saying?
You know, right. I know exactly what you're...
Because that's expansion.
Saying. I'm just going to put it into like more of a, you know, a nugget. So we're not sitting around thinking... nugget. How do we make more money selling on eBay? We're thinking, how do we want to live?
Right.
And how can eBay keep funding that way of life?
Right.
And so if that means we need to make more on eBay so we can have this way of life, then we will make more cash.
Right.
But if the kind of life we want doesn't need as much, then we're like, we
don't need to do that.
We're exactly. I mean, so I think for us, how we want to have our lives is really the big it's question.
Right.
Not
that's
like,
the first question is what you're saying.
And, you know, it's not like, I want to be rich.
Right.
It's just like, what kind of life do I want?
Right.
And that's what we talk about all the time.
All the time.
You know?
Every single day.
Owning our time. Not waking up to alarm clock, you know.
Yeah.
Being able to go and live overseas for a month.
Right.
Know?
Right.
You know.
And how do you achieve that and not be like, we have to make $1 million every year?
Like when like when we have a meal together, like we're going to do it after this podcast. We're going to like pull out of all of our foods out of our fridge.
All of our disgusting leftovers.
It's not disgusting. They're delicious.
I'm joking.
And then we sit down and we're like hanging out and we have our computers because we're pro. We're pro internet.
We're like, you know, some people are like, no computers at the table. No.
but we talk about this sometimes about like, what do we want to do?
Yeah.
Like my recent dream
Right.
is like, it's my electric car dream.
Right. We've talked about this.
And I want to like get an fully electric car.
100% electric.
That can drive, 200 or 300 miles.
Right.
Really like 300 miles on a
the
charge.
best, yeah.
And I want to be able just to drive around the country.
Yeah.
For like a year.
Just like road trip it.
Right. And I want to be able to like scavenge power.
Yeah.
Like we stay here and we could just like plug in and just like fill the car up or like that kind of thing. And I want to go live in different like towns that I've either been in and not spent a lot of time in, or been a new stay there for a couple weeks at a time.
Right.
Really just
like
enjoy
a true
it.
road trip.
Yeah, and like rent an Airbnb and just like,
because there's so many towns that we've been to that I'm like, I wish we could hang out here a little more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the dream. That's our lifestyle.
Yeah.
So that's where as we start, and then we have to answer.
How do we do that?
Well, how do we do that?
Yeah.
How do we fit eBay into that kind of a lifestyle? So we've talked about it. Number one is during that time, it was scavenging.
Right.
We're going to cool local auctions. We're going
thrift
to
stores,
thrift stores,
little whatever.
We're getting good, cool stuff, and we're mailing it back to our house. But that means we need to actually hire a full-time employee.
Right.
Who comes to our house every day.
Yeah.
Has access to our eBay account.
Right.
Can ship stuff.
Ships our stuff.
And when we mail stuff back, she can open up the boxes, take stuff out, and take pictures of that stuff.
And list that stuff.
Yeah. And put it up on eBay. And we even talked about she doesn't even have to list it, but she can make make
a listing.
Yeah, and then we on the road can check it over, write better titles, and price it, and we do
because we're the researchers. Because I've seen other eBay stores not do that, and it's kind of a
because while we're in this electric car and we're driving long ways, we could actually be working on
the computer
because the car is also self-driving, so we're not having
obviously.
To do that. So again, I mean, I'm just using that an example.
Right.
That's how we think about eBay, you know, and that's how we think about. It's not always about even it growing our store. It's more about evolving
it, and like I guess I don't love the word expansion. It is like you said, it's evolving.
Right. Because if we're not always evolving our store, and this is just for us, and it just might be because we're like a wacky artist,
Yeah.
I would get so bored of this.
It would be really boring.
I would not want to do this.
Because there was a time where we went a little bit off on clothes because we were just sick of it, and we didn't have employees, and we were just like, I can't
it felt
do
like
it anymore.
With Steven Schultz, his brilliant, a nugget.
His nugget.
Was
gold nugget.
You don't want to create a sweatshop
for yourself.
It's yourself.
Exactly.
And that's what it felt like for a while.
It felt like a sweatshop. Like, I remember, because we would model clothes ourselves.
Piles of clothes.
And I would just be like, I can't do it anymore.
I even look at pictures of those days.
We look miserable.
When I'd be like, I remember when I took that picture of her and we had just been fighting about something,
But I think because back then we were competing with a lot of people who were had actual models and you know what I mean? They were crazy, but we were we can't just take pictures on the floor. And now we're like, oh, stuff definitely sells if it's a picture on the floor. Right. It doesn't matter.
No problem. Right.
Does not matter.
But so as a seller on eBay, this is what would concern me.
Yes.
When I'm thinking about building a long game.
Right.
If I'm starting to sell on eBay and I want to do this for a long time, these are the things that concern me. Do I have to spend too much on inventory?
What do you mean by that?
I hear people say, I go and I buy out a whole house for $15,000.
Right.
I'm like, I don't like the idea of putting that kind of money down. Or I'm selling retail arbitrage, or wholesale or private
on my
a
credit
label,
card, and
I have to put down $15,000 on my credit card to buy 2,000 items that go to Amazon, and I don't like having that much money.
Yeah.
I like the way we do it, where we don't spend too much on inventory, so
Right.
it never feels like a drain. You know, we probably spend about as much on inventory as people spend on like eating out, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for this past week.
Which we'll talk about in a moment.
Okay. The other concern I have is, can we stop putting stuff on eBay for a couple of months at a time and still make consistent income from eBay?
Right.
You know, so, and that's the thing when people come on and say, yeah, I just go to Goodwill and buy shirts, I list them cheap, I ship them free, they sell fast.
We call that burn and churn.
Churn and burn.
Churn and burn, burn and churn.
Yeah. So what happens if something happens? Like you have to go take care of a sick mom. What if you get hurt? What if you just get bored and you want to take a trip to Norway and just have fun with your girlfriend?
What if?
Like, would eBay just stop?
Right.
For you?
Right.
And for us, the way we do it,
it's not stopped.
We can stop putting stuff on eBay I think we've done it for up to almost 4 or 5 months. I feel like...
I mean, there was times where, like, when we were renovating houses where we were like, this is all we have to concentrate on.
Like, we were just doing
we just,
very minimal.
Yeah, it just was like...
But we had so many items in our store that things just kept going.
It was consistent. It wasn't, like, huge, but it was, like, enough to make a living.
So that's important to me. Another thing I worry about is the money we make on eBay.
Yeah.
Are we using that in a smart way?
Right.
You know, so we're not just making money on eBay and then like, right, I'm going to go buy a jet ski. And you're going to buy,
purses and shoes.
Right.
Yeah, which...
That's so...
It's so...
Girls, not all girls
suburban.
like purses and shoes.
No,
but anyway,
they don't.
But yeah, so all the money we make on eBay, we try to be super smart with. And for us... The way we've done it is we've been buying a real estate to make a rental. So if ever we wanted to stop doing eBay, we've now
created other businesses.
Kind of been able to replace that income if we wanted to.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so, that's what... So that would concern me is that if I was just like making a bunch of money on eBay and then we just like blow it all,
Right.
We don't do that.
No.
Another thing, I get a lot of things that worry me, Ryan.
This is a long list.
So another thing that worries me is, do we enjoy what we sell?
Right.
And we kind of talked about that.
Yes.
I actually enjoyed selling clothes and shoes until I didn't. I mean,
right.
And we were, there was like a painful period of like, well, what else would we sell?
Right.
We met Mikey and Wendy.
And they were selling anything and everything.
Stuff at yard sales. And we were like,
oh, we could sell this stuff.
Love this.
Yeah, we could sell this stuff. Housewares.
So, I think we've solved that because we're always...
experimenting.
Changing what we sell. We're experimenting. We'll try let's start selling some art.
Well, it's so great because, and this is what I talked about a bunch before with eBay, is you can pivot like that. There's no waiting. You don't have to ask permission. You don't have to get your boss's permission. You don't have to write up a proposal. You just buy something at the thrift store or the auction or whatever, and you list it that day, and you try it.
See if it sells.
And that's what I love.
Bolo!
Can you find a home run? Because for us, like you said with the clothing, we were like, we just don't want to do this anymore right now. And we didn't. Right. And it was like that.
But the great thing is...
But then we went back.
We had backfilled so much clothing in our store.
I'm still selling that clothing, frankly.
We had so much clothing and shoes in our store that while we were trying to experiment with like hard goods, the clothes would keep funding a new part of our
exactly.
Business.
Yeah, so that's what I love about it.
Then the last concern that I wrote down, I'm sure there are others, is, are we bored?
Are we bored?
It's not just do we enjoy what we sell, but are we just bored in general? Like,
is this boring?
I hear a lot of, people come on our forum and they're like, I'm an OG, I've been selling since 1999. But their story is really like, I sold for a couple of years, then I just stopped.
Right.
And now it's 2018, and I'm like, maybe I should sell again. There's like this long period, and I guess to me, what I hear from people is, I just got bored, I just got bored of selling on eBay and shipping and because it can become a grind.
It can become a grind. There are days now, I mean, I have people helping me, but I'm still listing where I'm just like...
You're going to an auction and there's just like, you're like, more junk, It's just like, what keeps us not bored? And I will say, we're not bored in part because we have a community. Yeah. Because of this.
This community.
I mean, we do, hour-long podcast a week. Right. But really, it takes a lot more time than that. Like, we're going to eat, and then you're going to have to go, edit it, because and make it sound better. And,
exactly. Trust me, you wouldn't listen to it if it wasn't edited.
Take out all the long pauses and, and little arguments we have. And then, we have a forum. I mean, I'm putting a lot of time into answering questions and commenting.
Look, most of the email I get is forum posts. Like, if I don't check my email for a couple hours, I'm like, oh, dude.
But I also enjoy it because it's this intellectual, fun thing of people come up with some idea, and then we get to pick it apart,
hash it out,
and pick out the good parts and question the questionable parts, and we've learned,
break it down.
We've learned so much from people coming on our forum who I don't even know. Sometimes I don't even know if they're male or female.
Yeah, you're just like, who is this person?
There's one person, My Cottage. I don't know if that's a man or a woman. I mean,
it doesn't matter.
Not that it matters.
But there's no identity. It's just like...
But that person often has these great ideas, and I'm like, that's a great idea.
Yeah, you're like, who is this person?
So anyway, that's one thing that keeps us not bored, is being a part of a community that's actually trying to solve problems, rather than, as we always say, the community that's about just complaining and coming up with excuses of why it's not going to work.
Right. I mean,
like on a Winnie the Pooh, Eeyore.
Like on Winnie the Pooh, the Eeyores,
It's never going to work.
It's so rainy outside.
There's nothing you can do.
And everybody feels like that sometimes. Yeah. But you don't want to feel like that all the time.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my...
that's your nugget. Your chicken nugget. Your golden nugget. Yeah.
Okay,
that's good.
So let's talk specifically about eBay.
Yes.
This week we went to an auction.
Look, this was a whole thing.
Right. So, we went to a new auction, and it's like you said, the better auctions
are far away from us.
Are a couple hours away, and they're in the morning time, so we'd have to wake up. So we've been, we rent an Airbnb the night it's before.
Which is cool because it's a new area, and we don't know it. Right. And so it's kind of fun adventure, but it is also work.
Now, if we had an electric car, it would be more of my dream. But anyway, we go there, and we spent, and maybe it's better to say I spent $1,400 at this auction, which is a crazy amount of money.
We say you spent because, number one, I now know this about myself. I'm really bad at spending money, meaning I don't want to spend money. So it's really hard for me to bid people up on stuff.
Right.
Because I'm just like, I don't want to pay that much.
Do you like it when, there's something up for bid
that nobody else wants?
No one else wants. And
$10.
If you're like $10 and
I'll
that's it. And I'm the one that's like, I'll go head to head and
this is why.
Right. $1,400.
You'll hear why.
So number one, we bought a lot more tables of just tchotchke.
Ceramic.
Gewgaws. A lot of gewgaws.
A lot of ceramics. But there was stuff on these tables that I was like, this is high-end stuff. Now,
I will say, out of that $1,400, now, number one, there's taxes, there's the buyer's it's premium. So, really, we only spend about $1,100. It's just, then there's the extra.
There's all the
but probably half of that amount was furniture.
We did buy furniture.
And I also, so they had, and I would have bought so much more furniture if we had an easier way to haul it home. They had all this, it's century furniture.
Right.
I bought a Danish modern table.
Yeah, like a coffee table.
That we're going to put in a rental.
Right.
A side table that will go in a rental.
A desk.
A desk. gorgeous. It
Cheap.
just needs to get like oiled up.
Yeah.
That I'm not sure where it's gonna go. Like we bought one that's kind of like that, and we sold it for $1,400.
It bought my laptop, basically.
Right. I bought it for $100, and the one we bought isn't signed, so probably.
But it's definitely got a great style.
But anyway, I mean, I'm just like, wow. You know, furniture is really my new drug. Like we talk about things that keep us interested and excited. Like I get so excited about a furniture, I can't sell it.
It's so hard to sell, man.
And
talk about long tail.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Long tail.
And I think really because honestly, and I didn't want to talk about this publicly, but I think we have to. I think your prices for furniture
are too high.
They're just too high for the OfferUp and Craigslist crowd. You know, like you know, like on eBay, we're like high price, and then we can talk down from there. But this is where we're gonna start. And like on Craigslist, people are like, you want $1,400? I'll give you $100. You know?
Yeah, I mean that's just not the right audience.
Like there was a guy that came on our forum that he seems like it's real smart. When we go to those sales, if you're willing to haul its furniture home, you can buy so much furniture.
People do not want to move it.
And he says he does this. Like he's got like a big thing he attaches to his truck, so he's taking home, you know, tens of pieces of furniture, and then he says he sells it on Facebook, I guess. Groups.
Yeah, Facebook.
But you know, it sounds like he was buying for like, you know, $10, selling for $75. You know, I'm like, man, that's a lot of.
See, I'm like such a furniture snob where I want to pay $50 and I want to sell it for $2,000.
Right, that's
because I'm insane. But I've done it before.
No, yeah,
you know. I'm like, $150. No, I'm not selling it for $150. But that's what people want.
Right.
You know, those are the prices they want.
And then just to wrap up the experience at the place. You know, I have a new guy who's my
new nemesis.
Yeah, and he's the book guy. Yeah, he's like this older gentleman who's definitely a military guy because he's got the buzz cut,
military
and the hat, and he's only books. He only buys books. And I went head to head. It's with him on some boxes of books. I bought a box of books for $190.
190 people.
Right. There were 3 boxes, and they were like D&D.
This is why
strategy games. I mean, anyone that knows like D&D, these
books are worth a lot of money.
They were like the old from like the late 70s, early 80s. Gary Gygax, you know.
We went to a yard sale one time years ago. Bought a stack of them for $15, and we made so much money on them.
I had missed one box because the guy who
auctioneer was not clear.
He's a mumbler.
Yeah.
So I missed that. That guy, he got a box for $20 of these. Oh my god, these strategy books. The other one, I went head to head. He outbid me. He bought it for $200. Then the third one, I was like, I'm not going to let it. You're
not letting it go.
I bought it for $190. He was so mad at me.
He like yelled at you.
I walked by him. And he was so mad at me. And then, you saw him like in the corner,
mumbling to himself.
And I walked by him once, and he's like, "I can't believe you."
He swore at you. Yeah. You love it though. It's so funny to me because you love that stuff because you're like, you get okay. This is why we don't play Scrabble. Right. Because you're super competitive, I'm not like that.
I just don't like it.
Yeah.
When people feel entitled, like he's the guy.
Feels entitled. He's
got the like permanent.
The permanent number
at the auction. Everyone knows him. He's been going for years. He's like the book guy, and he feels entitled to like any book.
He's like, I buy the books.
He gets for $20,
and you're just like, F you, buddy. Basically.
Anyway.
So that was $190.
All fair, but you know
what? Some of those books are worth $100 each.
I mean, some of the strategy books. Look, I'm going to stop right here, buddy. They're like the books were made by hand. Like
they were like mimeographed.
When like the nerds were just doing the pictures by hand.
Themselves.
They're like typing it out and then mimeographing it, and then they like have the tabs of it brads.
It is like
amazing,
super DIY. So that stuff is like really interesting and fun, and Is it worth $190 a box? We'll find out because we're
Okay.
going to list them.
Other things. eBay
Other
stuff.
things.
Number
yes.
one, on our second store,
Yeah.
guaranteed its shipping got turned on.
By eBay. I don't have to do anything.
No, you
just
don't. Right.
FYI.
Because we had signed up for it and they said, we'll put you on a waiting list.
Right.
That second store, and I heard other people got approved as well.
And other people didn't because they're like, I didn't get approved yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a couple people on the forum were like, I'm still waiting.
And some people were upset because this is the big thing in the seller update, and
Right.
you know, there's now like a thing on the site where people can turn
There's
on
a
and off.
checkbox, which is a
So
big deal.
it's like, if you don't get in that program, you could get
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So it's for us. It's really not a big deal because we ship the same day already. Just
Yeah.
because
Now we ship the same day.
now that we have a warehouse, everything's
right here.
right
yeah,
there.
Exactly.
okay. The other thing is, there was a day when eBay had a 15% sale on everything.
Yeah, there was they had like a little 15% coupon that was good for anything.
So-
up to you had to spend over $25.
So I don't understand that. So
yeah,
we don't put
right.
a 15% sale. eBay. So does eBay eat that profit? It's like they're
Yeah.
losing.
It must be them.
Really?
Because it's like the people I bought from, it's not like they got 15% less. They shouldn't
us,
have,
right.
So I think eBay was just like, we're going to eat that.
So I mean,
No,
if
we-
that's true, good for eBay.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's one thing where you know the fees and all that stuff that we give eBay the billions
Right.
of dollars. That's cool that they're like, we're just gonna eat for this day, you know,
Yeah.
a certain amount of profit because we're just trying to bring people to
Bring
the
some
site.
sales happening. So
That's cool.
So I bought a bunch of stuff because we buy stuff on eBay because of
Because of
that.
the
I was
sale,
like, I'm buying that day. I did not see any uptick in sales that day. I wasn't like, wow, this is just like we made a couple sales. But
Yeah,
you know,
whatever.
what
but
can you do?
but it's my point is that's cool.
It
that
is
that's,
cool.
You know, and I don't know if they do that often or if that's like
I've only seen it once before, but it was very specific as to what you had. Like there were certain categories of stuff you could buy. This was site wide.
Right.
I mean, I bought stuff from a bunch of random sellers,
Right.
and it was.
And then at the end in the shopping cart, then it just says put in a code, and you put the code.
Put the
in.
code in, and it was
Huh.
like I saved $6 because that's how much.
Yeah,
I
because
didn't
we're
spend
cheap.
very much money. But.
Okay, number 9. I don't know where we are on the
Number
on the-
9. Yeah, okay.
A mobile-friendly checker. So
Yeah,
this
this
is interesting. Someone on a forum brought this up. Like, there's
Right.
this thing where eBay will let you put your listing through this mobile-friendly
Checker
tool. You know,
to
and
see is this mobile friendly.
and they started this 4 years ago, I think.
It's a while ago.
When they were really trying to push people who sold on eBay
To get
make
rid of the weird, crazy descriptions with
all the
photos and dancing Santas,
different fonts.
Yeah,
But it's still active, and when you put it through, there's often an error
Yeah.
or something.
Or here's the deal: so we make all our listings through the phone. And a lot of times they'll be like, this is not mobile friendly. You're like, I just made it through the
Right.
phone. Like, how is this not?
And so there's
So
confusion,
crazy.
and hopefully someone is working on it.
I think
So
it's an old tool.
is that tool still active? And the question is, if you make a listing on eBay,
Right.
especially do it on the phone through
It should be
eBay,
mobile friendly.
isn't it automatically mobile friendly?
Clearly
right?
it's not.
I shouldn't have to run every single
Right.
item through this thing to fix it, you know?
You're like, it should already be fixed from default.
Okay, the next thing. So we've talked
Yeah.
about this. eBay has this brand new, they'll send you a message and they say, 12 people have items in their carts.
Right.
If you lower the price by 5% or more, we'll send them
A message.
a message so they'll buy.
Right.
Okay, number 1, eBay sends you a bunch of items.
Right. 12 out of 15 items, or
And-
however many.
And the only way to change the price is how?
You click on revise this price, right? And I'm thinking it's going to be a tool that's like, bring all these down by 15%. Nope. You have to revise them one by one on the
by
back
one,
end.
right.
And you have to calculate. You're like, what's 5% off? I'm like, get my calculator out. I'm just like, are you serious right now?
And so they need to make that easier.
It needs to be automatic.
Also,
right.
It's your mom had a good point.
Right.
If you do bring the price down for those people in that cart and they don't buy it,
then it's down 5%. It's for everybody.
It's permanently down, and then you'll forget it. And then if you do another
like,
sale,
what was that item? Yeah.
And so, I just feel like it's an interesting idea from eBay. But what eBay should do is say they send you a
message.
A message. You click a button one time to approve a 5%
discount to that buyer only.
So it's almost like it's an offer that will expire in 48 hours. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I know eBay's like,
I don't want to program that.
That's a whole thing.
They're like, well...
we don't really care if you lower the price and it stays that way because it doesn't matter to us. But
they want you to lower the price all the time. Here's my issue with this, and we already discussed all the main issues and whatever. They send you a message through your eBay inbox, but it does not come through email. Right. So I do not see, I'm like, when do I just check the inbox? Right. I mean, I do occasionally, but I should get an email. I should get an alert. Huh. What? Everything should be emailed.
That bothers you more than it bothers me. I mean, don't you get the alert on, it's your phone?
Of this? No.
Oh, yeah. It's you're right, yeah.
So it's things like, right, like the technology companies, you're like, so this is a hidden message.
Right,
like,
so eBay, it is interesting. So we get alerts only if a buyer will write to us.
Yeah.
But we don't get an alert. An
eBay message. Right. Although some eBay messages get emailed, but not all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wacky.
Yeah, it feels like it's just one of those things. Look, we only talk about this stuff, it's not because we hate eBay. It's because we just want these things on eBay that we love to work better
and be efficient,
and just so much of it just feels
and make sales. It
feels like it's half baked. It's like it's a good idea that's then not it's just like not done in a smart way,
or it's buggy and you're like, well, let's get eBay to fix this.
Right.
And so eBay's a behemoth in a castle.
Right.
And we're the plebes again.
Yeah. And even
though we've had a podcast for 4 years.
Steve on the 4th floor needs to go talk to a Margot on the 8th floor because they run 2 different parts of the site and they need to get together and just connect together through like a JavaScript app,
No.
Okay, and then the final thing that happened to us on eBay that we wanted to bring up is, and this has happened, I'm sure, to other people too. We sold an item on eBay.
Yesterday morning.
Yeah, a TV.
A remote control.
Right, and then 8 hours go by, and we sell something on Bonanza, the exact same item. So for some reason, Bonanza didn't sync to eBay like it normally does, I'm
like, shouldn't it happen like every hour?
Yeah, I'm like, how often do?
I don't know. I'm like, is it 24 hours? That doesn't make sense.
And it is also interesting too. Like, it's not an uncommon item. It's like, why did we sell the same item on both those sites?
Super weird.
So strange.
It's not the same person. Like, right. So there have been times where someone's like, they'll buy a mug from me on eBay, then they'll buy the other one on Bonanza thinking, now I have a set of 2. And you're like, you just bought the same thing from me. It's the same store. Right. I don't know why, whatever.
Well, I mean, they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know, but okay. Right. So, but this was a TV remote. You're like, with 2 different buyers. So
really? Oh.
Yeah, it's not the same person. They didn't buy 2 of them for their house. Right. It's like 2 different people.
But that is the thing. I mean, I guess Bonanza, we sell so few items there. But it is strange. The whole point of it is it's supposed to sync, and if it's not a syncing well,
then you're like canceling.
Like, oh, what's the point?
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about our numbers for the week. So we actually had a pretty good week. We like to make $1,000 a week. That is the money we need to fund our lifestyle that we dreamed up, and we made $1,600.
Yeah.
In gross sales, not including our shipping. So it's not bad,
Yeah,
I feel like good. I'm now in like the post-Christmas. I'm now fully in this time of a year. And $1,600 is like, that's good.
You're like, all right,
I'm good with that.
like
I'm feeling.
it's not $800.
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, good.
In our second store, we sold 5 things for $115. So second store is it's an interesting thing. I feel like our sales have really are lower on that store.
Yeah,
so
they are.
We're gonna just keep letting it go, but at some point we might want to start to actually put brand new stuff in that store.
We could. We can put up to 1,000 items, and why not? We're at 934 right now, so that there's a little bit of a buffer.
Yep.
Things
we sold that are interesting.
Yes.
Not really a lot. Just talk about it's clothes. We actually sold
a lot of clothes.
A lot of clothes.
Like yesterday, I was packing and I was like, "Oh, I don't even have to go into the back building."
Right.
Our new big storage, because all the clothes are in my office building.
Right.
So that's how many clothes we were selling. A lot.
But 2 things that were interesting. We sold a wooden cat.
It was a cat sculpture, kind of a mid-century.
It was made out of a burl.
Almost like a dark redwood, almost like a mahogany type thing. It was heavy.
$140
to someone in China.
And we rarely sell things to people in China.
I would love to sell more things to people in China. There's so many people in China.
Now, that was in the global...
No, it wasn't global shipping because it's art and sculptures.
Okay.
So I don't think they let you sell that stuff.
So that's a good example. Someone was talking about how someone bought an item overseas and they, go through the global shipping program, but this item got kicked out of that program.
And I think it's category.
And I guess my question is, is there a thing that says if it can't go through that program, don't sell it to that person?
Yes. So here's the deal. Here's the example, the cat thing. In the back end of your listing, you say sell through global shipping. And then it's other shipping options. For this one, I said worldwide priority mail only. And that's what they chose for being in China for this category. But if you said none, they couldn't buy it.
That person couldn't buy it. Although it's interesting, so, art and sculpture doesn't ship through that program, but you could have called it
wooden cat figure
tool or something.
Right.
And then
it would ship. Oh, absolutely. No, I think people get around certain things through global shipping by doing it that way.
Interesting.
Okay. So that was a fun sale. There was another sale. This was interesting. So we found a jacket wherever we find clothes, thrift stores, and it was a camo jacket, but
an M65 jacket.
No, it wasn't. No? It was this generic ripstop nylon jacket that was made in Vietnam during the Vietnam War era.
Right.
But it had a little tag by a tailor, a custom tailor in Saigon. But it was this camo jacket, and I was like, this is weird and old. I'm going to put it up high, so I put it up for $150.
And it sold.
And it sold.
Cool.
So, yeah, it wasn't an actual military jacket.
Right.
It was hand tailored,
styled.
Yeah,
in military.
So that was cool. The other sale I do want to talk about is this really tacky glass sink basin. We bought it for $1 in an auction. Yeah. It was a whole table for $1 because nobody wanted anything on the table. It took forever to sell. Yeah. I had it up for so high. I had it for $300.
Because it's one of those
it's custom made.
What do you call it?
It's like a basin sink.
Nope, that's not what I'm trying to say. It's like when you walk into a bathroom. It's like that thing that your eye just pops at. Yeah,
it's like a showpiece. A statement.
It's like a statement.
It's very bold.
It's purple color.
No, it was this shiny metallic iridescent blue.
Right.
Stuff on the bottom, and then when you flip it over and look at the sink, it looks like it should be in Las Vegas, right? Yeah, it definitely is.
Nobody
wants
this
it
thing because
it's so tacky.
Yeah, it's takes a certain kind of person to enjoy a sink like that. But it finally sold.
It sold for $50.
Why not?
Plus, it was very heavy, so the shipping was a little bit high.
Okay, Scavenger of the Week. I kind of talked about it. For me, my Scavenger of the Week was that Danish, it's modern stuff I got.
Yeah.
That desk, that table that we're gonna finish and put in one of our rentals, a little side table.
Yeah.
That was the stuff that excited me.
That was good stuff.
Because I only spent a couple $100 for all of it. So.
Yeah, that was definitely those were good pieces. They do have to get refurbished by me.
Yep.
But
because you're the handy person.
The handy woman. Yep, that's true.
And I'm talking to you as you sit in your overalls.
I am in my overalls.
With holes in them, like you look like a handyman.
Because I'm about to go do some painting at one of the rentals.
Right. Now, one other thing we did buy, and I bought for you as a gift,
which I'm sitting in,
is like this really nice Swedish lounge chair.
It is totally 1970s. It is chrome and brown leather.
It's called, what is it called? Like
Ecorns? Is that what it is? We have a couple of their couches for sale that was in one of our rentals, but we're selling it.
And that cost $200.
This is a $200 chair. It is a lounger. It's a little bit broken, but it's pretty comfortable.
Yep. Okay, let's talk about some customer issues, although we're not going to spend a bunch of time on this because we're positive people.
Okay, so I sent a big tall lamp that was made out of metal and marble to Global Shipping Program.
Double boxed.
Super, and so it went to someone in Finland, and it was completely broken by the time
they sent a couple of photos. It was totally demolished.
It was just smashed.
The great thing is, it was through a shipping program, so eBay took care of it.
Yeah, I called eBay because he opened like a return damaged item case, and I just called eBay at 8 a.m. the very next morning, and I was like, they closed it in like 1 second.
Yep. We got a neutral feedback from a buyer that was unhappy with the color of her shoes. Like, it was white polka dots, and she says, "Oh, but it's kind of pink polka dots."
They weren't white polka dots; they were pink polka dots, and that's what I said in the listing. So she was unhappy with the color.
And she, and we were like, "Just send them back." She didn't want to return them, and she just gave us a neutral. So feedback. I say definitely.
I'm definitely gonna call about that.
And my only concern is I saw that you answered her already, and I feel like eBay's going to be like, well, you answered her, so we can't take it away.
Well, all right.
So just in the future, just corporate policy.
I just never even thought of that, and someone did mention that last week on the forum, and I forgot about it.
I don't know if that's true, so we'll put that too. But in the future,
I will say it's very important that your messages have said, you are more than welcome to return this item. Right. I'm happy to take a return. So I had messaged her that several times because she wrote us a bunch of messages. So
and unfortunately, we had this really sad thing happen to us yesterday.
Yeah,
we're hanging out. We get a sale on our phone. We look. It's a $600 sale. We sold a $600 jacket. We were like, this is awesome. But both of us thought,
this can't be true.
Just for some reason, I don't know why. It just felt like that kind of sale. And we immediately got a message. And the guy was like, someone took control of my account and bought this. Right. And so please cancel. And we're like, yeah, go ahead and it's canceled. We cancel. And I'm like, come on. What would that scam be? Why would someone buy something and ship it to you, the person, anyway? His address was not probably just a mistake.
Yeah, it just
that's always man, $600 would have made our week.
It would have been incredible.
And then this is something that we talk about a lot, or we've talked about in the past. We had a buyer or a potential person who's like, I want this item from you
for half.
At a cheap price, and we're like, no, and then he's like, well, I just bought the same item from someone else for X amount, so sell me the same thing at the same price. And I just answered, you got a seller that was willing to make you a great deal. That's awesome. That's not the price I'm going to sell it at. Exactly. So that always kind of bugs me. With
and so what's
it's like bad thinking.
Well, right. And the issue is with this item and with every freaking item in our store, it's a unique item. You don't see it every day. And I'm like...
I love those times when we can buy really cool, strange, weird items for really cheap.
But what... Okay, look, so this is what I'm trying to say here. It's a unique item. This person bought some of these already, and he wants to add to his collection. but he's not willing to pay for it. Right. You're like, okay, fine.
Yeah,
like,
find it someplace else.
Go find it. I've not seen any of these listed by anyone else.
Right.
Yeah. That's why my price is the way it is.
And, you know, he got an incredible deal, but he can't expect to get that same deal every day. Okay, things we learned in the forum. I talked about a bunch of stuff people talked about. One thing that was interesting was people started posting photos of their scavenging
mobiles.
And like
automobiles.
Like one guy showed he's got a car. It's with a trailer hitch.
It's an awesome trailer.
I didn't actually know that a car could do a trailer.
Lots of cars can actually. Anyway. I think our Acura can.
I don't think so. You think?
Look, we have these friends. They had a Honda. Yeah, it was Libby and Tristan. Oh, okay, they had. I'm sorry, it wasn't a Honda. It was a Hyundai 4-door sedan, and they had a trailer hitched to it. Wow. They had a tiny house hitched to it. I was like, what?
Yep, you know, and people had trucks and all that stuff. So it's always interesting to see. And I would love to see more. It's photos not only of what kind of car people drive, but I want to see it.
Filled with stuff.
When it's loaded
Prove
up.
it.
How do you, show me photos of, like, when you've loaded the car to beyond capacity where someone's
and you're like, that's fine.
That's not possible.
Look, when we went to this auction, we have a pickup truck.
Yep.
And it was snowing.
It was, like, the worst day.
No, I'm sorry. It wasn't even snowing at that point. It was raining.
It was rainy, sleet.
We put... And we had all this furniture and all these tubs of stuff.
Ryan's always like, there's no way we can take this
And we
out.
were like... strap it on.
Yep.
And we did it.
Tetris.
So, yeah,
and everything came home dry.
Tetris with tarps.
Yep. Everything came home dry. It was great.
It's fine, yeah.
Okay, well, what our coming week will be like. So we're going to Nashville in a couple weeks. So we're kind of like...
We're kind of gearing up
to
for
do
that.
a video job. But we're kind of gearing up to like kind of get things set up so we can be away for a week. Because really, like, when we go away, it's more like 2 weeks. Because it's like a week away, then a week unwinding from being in that other mindset.
Like corporate environment.
So why don't we answer questions for the people that called in this week?
You can always call our voicemail, and the phone number is 540-407-8486. You have 3 minutes to leave a message. And I do apologize, this message, I don't know why I skip messages, because they're all in a row, but I skipped this one last week randomly, but here it is.
Hey, Scavengers, what's up? It's Jack here. Look, I've got a question for you, a situation I'm dealing with right now. Of course, I won't get the answer for a week till it's all over with, but I just want your opinion on something. Sold a pair of used boots to a guy, and he contacts me, and he says he's worn them for 2 weeks, and the sole came off one of them. He sent me a picture, and I was like, okay, no problem. And I'm trying to get him to tell me what he thinks is fair since he got, for an adjustment, considering he got a little bit of use out of them, but he hasn't responded yet. He responded with a couple questions. Did I have other boots that I can send him, so forth and so on. And what I really want to do is make an adjustment on this pair of boots. My real question is, obviously if he thinks a full refund is appropriate, I'll just give him a refund. But my question is, considering they're a used pair of boots and he admits wearing them for 2 weeks, would that fall under a defect, that they're defective, that he could return them, that they're defective, or that they're used and they just broke up? I'm just wondering what eBay would think of that. So anyway, enjoy your podcast. Have a great day.
Hey, Jack, thanks for calling. We've had you call. It's before, and this is a very good question.
Good question.
I think for me, my answer is eBay would think if something happens to the item within its return policy, 30 days or something, I feel like they can return it because there's a problem,
Right.
We've had that happen where, we sell old shoes and
the soles will
they
break.
put them on and they like fall off or they crumble or something like that. And so you just need to make that guy whole, Although what I would do is I would say return the boots for a refund.
Yeah.
Or have him tell you a number because he could get it resold, right?
Depends on the shoe.
Yeah.
Yep, he could get it. I have paid for people to get heel tips replaced because sometimes that can be like $5,
right?
And you're like, I'll pay that, or soles replaced depending on the price. And people are happy with that, you know, so it just depends on the
when
price
we were
of the
selling
shoe.
like Danskos and
shoe
and the whole
would
shoe would crumble, we would just give people full
refunds.
refund,
And
then
we stopped selling Danskos.
Right. So, but ultimately, the buyer has to open up a case, so you can give them a proper refund. And eBay, you know, it's on a record that deal has been done. You know,
right?
But if he's not
doing anything,
back,
just wait for him to take an action.
Wait for him. Yeah, you don't follow him and and make him contact you.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. I wanted to call in because I just had something happen that has never happened before, and it's kind of funny, but I don't know how to respond to it. I have a porcelain grandma doll. It's like 24 inches tall. I just listed her on eBay for whatever price, and she is very creepy. And I have people watching it, and today I got a message from someone that says, "Hi, is this doll haunted? Please get back with me. Looking for an old lady for my haunted Elmer doll. He's lonely, please." So I was just curious how you would respond to that, because I don't know if I should say yes or just not respond, but I'm like, if I say yes, they'll probably buy this doll. But then what if they get it and they don't believe it's haunted? And I don't quite know how that works, but I know that people list haunted dolls on eBay all the time. So curious if you've ever come across a haunted doll and what you think I should do about it. Thanks.
Well, this speaks to our ghosts real.
Yeah, right.
Topic.
I mean, you know, I don't know. This is a weird question, but honestly, it's kind of like some people want stories with the items, and really, you can just tell them a story. Be like,
if you want to.
You know, you can even be like, I'm not sure if it's haunted, but it did come from an old lady's house down the street from my house, you know. All the neighbors' kids would always be afraid to walk into her yard. And then when she died and there was an estate sale, someone said that her spirit is in that doll. You know, you could make something like that up. I don't know
what? I would just ignore them.
Would you?
Yeah.
I would totally tell her a story. I'd be like, yeah, it's haunted, you know? Why not? I mean, what would eBay do if she's like, I wouldn't return it because
this item's defective. It's not haunted.
eBay would just be like,
yeah, but eBay's going to be like, you told her it was haunted.
I mean, say like, it's definitely haunted.
Yeah, that's a wacky one.
Hi, Jay. Hi, Ryan. My name's Steve. I'm calling from Metro Detroit. I call you guys occasionally. I was curious. I purchased my first storage units at auction, and I realized I've never heard anybody call or talk about it. Never heard you guys mention it, not to my knowledge. And I think I've listened to every single podcast you guys have ever done. Didn't know if that was ever anything that was of interest to you. It was always of interest to me, and I just never did it. Because it was slightly intimidating, really. But I bought 4 storage units at auction on an online auction site and went and cleaned them out. And I live in Metro Detroit, so there's plenty around here. And the sense of treasure hunting was just incredible when going through the belongings and stuff like that. Of course, there's a lot of trash, a lot of things that you don't want to come across, a lot of dirty clothes. And it did generate a lot of stuff that's not able to be sold on eBay. So, but I had already planned on having a large garage sale in the spring and a large garage sale in the fall. Tons of clothing. But lots of good stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff that I was able to list and sell. I only spent $190 on all 4 units, and it took me about 3 days to go through everything, donate and throw away whatever I didn't want. Yeah, but it was super interesting, and I know you're in a more rural area, but I had just never heard anybody talk about that as a source of goods for sale on eBay. So I thought I'd bring it up. It was pretty neat. I'm going to do it again, and it was a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you so much for the podcast, and I enjoy listening. I listen to it when it comes out every week. Bye.
So we have talked about it in the sense of we just don't like them. You know? I mean, you know, come on, we watch those shows, Storage Wars. It's always fun to watch, but there's so many other places to scavenge. I don't like the idea of I'm bidding on something I can't see. You know, they allow you to look from the outside, but that doesn't really help.
I mean, he bought these online, so he wasn't even like...
Right.
So my thing too, and this is the same when people like buy out whole estates. I don't want to clean up someone else's crap.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
It's bad enough at an auction where there's
a
little bit of
junk,
stuff I have to get rid of. But the idea of spending 3 days going through some lockers and then having to like take carloads of stuff to the dump or to, the thrift store. It just doesn't sound fun to me when there's so many other places to buy. Now, $190 for 4 lockers, that's awesome. I mean, we've been to those auctions here
in person.
Man, people are like spending $400 to $800 on a locker, and all I see is like a dirty mattress and some boxes. I'm like, I have no
idea what's in here. Yeah,
and this idea of like on Storage Wars, like
they find like
Elvis's
bars.
Toothbrush that's worth $5,000. I don't know.
I think it'd be worth more than that, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm just not, so that's why we're not into it, is just because I don't like the fact that I see it, and I don't trust that the people that own the storage place haven't gone through it already. Some guy on a forum came on recently who says he works at a place.
A storage place?
He says that only buy from an auction if they actually cut the
cut the lock right there
in front of you, instead of you go there and it's already opened. Although,
that's interesting. Yeah, because they would not have the key to the
because it's going to have 2 of them. Yeah, it's going to have the customer's combo on, and
then their lock because they've
so that's he says that's the only way to ensure that they haven't gone through already to
taking
make sure,
the gold.
the gold bars and stuff. But look, if you enjoy it, then
you should do it.
That's awesome,
and you should talk about it on the forum because it is interesting.
I would love to know, like, call back and tell us, like, so you spent $190. How much stuff did you actually get at the end of the day, and what kind of stuff?
AJ and Ryan and fellow Scavengers, this is Brian from Illinois. I was going to call in and just give a slightly different perspective on something we talk about fairly often, and that's the kind of the list it and forget it. But recently, as we all know, the spring seller update came out, and I have a basic store, and they mentioned that the listings in excess of the allotment you get for your basic store, which is $250, anything above that is going to increase from 20 cents a listing to 25 cents a listing. I thought the 20 cents was kind of high to begin with, but the 25 cents per listing kind of caught my eye. So I thought, I'm going to take a look at my store. And I only had about 300 items in there. But I looked at it, and there was some stuff. I thought, this stuff, it's been on there a long time. It's not going to sell. I'm just going to get rid of it. So I delisted like 20 items. And I looked through some other stuff, and there was some consolidation I could do, take 2 or 3 listings and make them into one, because the stuff wasn't moving, and I thought it just would sell better that way. So I did some of those. And I also had a lot of stuff in my little store. I had a lot of laptop bags and duffel bags, which I used to sell quite a bit of, but after I thought about it, I thought, boy, I haven't sold one of these in a long time. So I marked some of those down. The reason I mentioned it is a lot of us have noticed that, if you list a bunch of items, then you seem to move up in the search rankings. There's no solid evidence of that, but everybody seems to see that. Well, I noticed this week, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've only listed one item, and that was an auction. This past weekend or so, after I did all this activity, I sold a lot of stuff for my little store. So apparently eBay likes it, even if you delist stuff or consolidate or reduce prices. It sees that activity, and had a pretty good week considering. So I just thought I'd pass that along, because normally it's list it and forget it. And I actually believe in list and forget it, but with the price increase, I thought I'd do some house cleaning. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah, I think for people that have really small stores, like 200 items, and you're under. Did he say he's got a subscription, the basic?
Yeah. So it's the beginning store.
It totally makes sense. You got to be lean and mean, because if you go over that $200 items or however much they
$250 or something
allow. I mean, 25 cents a month is a lot,
per item. Yeah, it
that's a lot. And so cool. And it sounds like fooling around help. I just think for us, we were able to kind of get big enough to where with an Anchor subscription, it's $300 a month. and we can list 10,000 items. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever get to that.
We won't get that.
But, so that means it doesn't matter to us, a list and forget it.
Right. But when you're smaller, doing tweaks seems more doable.
Right.
We have at times done minor tweaks to, like you've said, you've lowered prices.
Yeah,
on
I mean,
certain clothes.
For us, it's more about like every 6 months, a year. I don't know. It's just whenever we feel like it, we'll be like, we've had this for a long time. Let's just
look at the price and decide.
But it's not like for us. I think some people, they build it into their day.
Right.
Like,
we
okay,
don't do that.
I'll drink coffee, then I'm going to relist, and then I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is James from Springfield, Missouri. I was just calling with a tip about best offers and accepting them. Drives me crazy also when buyers don't pay after you accept the offer. So what I started doing is just putting the item on a 24-hour sale and letting the buyer know that it's on sale for 24 hours and they can buy it if they'd like. That puts a little pressure on them to go ahead and make the purchase, since there might be other buyers that want to buy it also, and it also keeps your listing active in case they decide not to buy it. That's all I had. Thanks.
I guess
that's interesting. So someone gives you a lowball offer that you don't want.
So if you decline it, then you can change the price, right?
Right.
But if you don't decline it, if you counter, then it locks the price.
So basically what he's doing is, instead of like accepting their offer, he's like, okay, I'll put this on sale. I guess he's not saying he declines their offer, but he has to decline it.
So I think it's what he does. So I have a $50 item. Someone says, I'll give you $20. He declines it, probably changes the price to $40,
and it's like
as a sale, and tells the guy it's on sale, anyone can buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's too much work for me, but it is a technique.
Yeah, that's an interesting technique.
Hey Jay and Ryan, and hello Trash Elves. This is Joe from Baltimore. I have a full-time job and 3 kids under 10, and I've been selling on eBay on the side for about 3 years. I usually have between $1,000 and $2,000 a month in gross sales. I have a good scavenger story for you. I sold a Sony portable DVD player with a Sony car adapter on eBay, tested it before by playing a movie while I was listing, and received the best offer for $30 plus shipping for the item. I was happy with the price and accepted it and shipped it off. A few days later, the buyer opened a return case saying the DVD player didn't work. I happily accepted the return because I knew it worked, and I would just relist it at a higher price when I got back. When the player came back in the mail, I could tell it wasn't the same machine. They sent back their broken machine and kept my working one. The first giveaway was they were dumb enough to send back a generic charger, not the Sony brand one that I sold them. I checked the pictures on my listings and noticed that the scratch patterns on the bottom and on top of the DVD player weren't the same as the one that I had listed. So I knew it wasn't wasn't my machine. I opened the case on eBay, and then I called them the next day to see what I needed to do next. They told me they would immediately close the case in my favor and refund the buyer out of eBay's pocket as a one-time courtesy. I appreciated getting my money back, but I was kind of annoyed that they refunded the buyer too. It just encourages bad behavior from this buyer. Anyways, once the case was closed, I was ready to recycle the broken DVD player. But then my trash elf mind started moving, and I decided to charge up the battery to see if it worked. Turns out it worked great, and I could sell the battery alone on eBay for about $40, and then sell the broken DVD player for parts or repair for around $20 to $30. Take that, scammer. Before I go, I just wanted to thank you for the podcast and the information that you give. It inspires me and gives me hope that I can quit my 9-to-5 someday. Thanks again for all that you do. I really appreciate it. This phone call is ending in 3, 2, 1. Bye.
So number one, that's awesome that you make like $1,000 to $1,500 a month. I mean, that probably basically covers if you're a mortgage. That's amazing.
I would hope so.
So I love that he made a lemon into lemonade.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? That's a very interesting story. I'm glad eBay helped you out because that does suck. It's so funny that you're like, this actually kind of like the battery works great. So I'm
I mean, I think this is where I think some sellers they're like, I'm not going to sell on eBay because someone could pull this scam. It's just, I don't know if we've ever had that where a person has sent something back that was different than
Here's one. It
Tell me.
happened one time.
Tell me.
I sold a pair of white and pink shoes to someone, sneakers. She returned the shoes while we were away, so I refunded her. Okay, I'm just gonna, I'm assuming they are the shoes. So I refunded her while we were away. I got home, opened the package up. They were blue shoes. Gorgeous, way nicer than the ones that I had sent her.
Right.
And I actually messaged her and I was like, you actually sent me the wrong shoes back. It's not a problem. I've already refunded you. It's whatever. And she was like, I'm so sorry, whatever. I actually listed those same shoes for hire and then sold them the next week because they were nicer.
I feel like she probably did that by accident.
It was an accident. Yeah.
I just feel like, look, there are definitely ways where a scammer could take advantage of a system. Like eBay cannot stop a determined person to cause trouble.
Yeah.
But I just think in our experience, with the thousands of items we've sold, it's just most people just want the item and they want to be happy and just they're normal people.
Yeah.
So, but I love that this guy
he made it work.
Yeah.
And that's what scavengers do. They make treasure out of trash.
Part it out.
Hi, Ryan. Hi, Jay. This is Sandra in Delaware. Regarding the global shipping program and combined shipping, I just wanted to chime in. Last week I sold 2 separate listings. They were both really large dolls. The box size was 30 inches by 15 by 12. When I went to ship it, the only option was one label. I called eBay because obviously the girth was going to make the freight crazy. What I ended up doing after talking to 3 reps, I ran the label through and then it allowed you to remove one of the items off of it and then ran the label through again, removing the other item off. And basically what the rep had told me was that the global shipping program does not have a way to combine the shipping. They actually figure the charges for each item and then send it on a combined invoice. So she had told me for my protection it was probably better anyway to ship the 2 items separately. That way I had a reference number per box. But I just went back through and looked this morning. Basically my freight was $11 each. Priority mail, customer was charged $40. And had I actually found a box to combine the 2 into one shipment, I would not have been able to send it priority mail. I would have had to send it parcel select, which would have cost me $90. That's all I've got. Have a good day. Thank you.
That is all you. Right?
I just like this whole conundrum. I'm like, I don't even want to think about it. I don't know how she could have like removed an item from a label. I don't even know what that means, really. You can add tracking numbers to items, but when there's 2 different items in a global shipping thing that's a combined invoice, it should just have one global shipping reference number. So I don't know.
This goes to the problem of eBay now automatically combining global shipping, but that won't always work if it's like big weird items, right? So
I guess I'm gonna find out when somebody orders 2 weird big items from me.
eBay needs to give the ability to send 2
packages under the same reference number.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna. Well, I'm glad you saved money on priority mail. That's interesting.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. My name is Emmy, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm a part-time reseller, full-time student, and in my spare time, I like to go to auctions, and I go multiple times a week, and it doesn't mean that my house is full. I have a house, but it just means I'm really picky. So not all of us who go to auctions multiple times a week are hoarders exactly. So just want to let you know, just really picky, and I'm a really big fan. All right, thank you. Bye.
Okay, so look, I'm like you, Emmy, where when I go to auctions, I'm super picky, and like we would come home with like nothing.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right.
And I would probably go multiple times a week and buy like 3 things.
See, my nightmare going to an auction is that we, go there, we're investing all this time. It's basically a good day.
Right.
At the end of everything, it's going to take a day to get there and unload it. I mean, I'm like, we got to
maximize.
Count. Yeah. So we're going for it.
So that's different, though. It sounds like she lives in a place where maybe there's a local auction house, and that's totally different.
Yeah. I've seen people come into auctions we go to, like where they'll come in at certain parts, like maybe they have it timed. They'll like bid on a couple things, they'll buy a couple things, and then they leave. But for me, and I just think
whole day thing.
I share it with other people. I'm like, I'm there for it. Let's do this, and I can't let a good deal go by.
We have to maximize the time.
And I'm like, I don't know if I can sell that, but it's a good deal. Let's go for it, And I feel like there are other people like that too.
Yeah.
I just think, and I think you help me on that, is that we don't let things pile up. We actually have a process to get things listed and sold on the back end. And some people are just really good at buying and not very good at putting stuff up to sell.
Well, we actually said a lot of the auction stuff we got, which was like tiny ceramics and weird little collectibles. I mean, we looked at the space it took in our storage, and we were like, we could not go every week.
It's like a whole shelf.
Like, it's just not,
Now, I will say, and there are people who just focus on very specific things. Like that guy I talked about who just sells books.
Right.
He sits through the whole auction and he doesn't bid, and he's got a newspaper. He's muttering himself in the corner, and he'll only pop up when there are books,
Yeah, exactly. So,
I couldn't do that.
It's different. There are different techniques for buying at auctions. Absolutely. But our technique is to maximize. Yeah. Basically, we're filling up the truck.
But it sounds like she has self-determination and can constrain herself.
She's picky.
Which is amazing.
She's picky.
It's amazing.
It's good to be picky.
Yep.
Totally. Okay, you can check out the blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discussed and to join the conversation on the forum. Lots of good conversations happening on the forum. Again, you can call and leave a question or a comment on the voicemail line. That phone number is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday-ish, we post a What Sells video, currently being brought to you by Steven Schultz. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube so you always get the latest episode. If you want to rent our vacation rentals, there are openings in April. There are openings in the summer.
But they're filling fast.
But they are filling up, so you can click on the link on the sidebar that says Our Rentals and check it out. We are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Goodbye.
Bye.